Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's EBC. We're here in a field in Door County, Wisconsin, thinking about Matthew 13 and 4 more parables that Jesus tells us. In these parables, Jesus is talking about the kingdom of heaven, and he's giving examples of what the kingdom of heaven is like. Now, in the first 2 of these parables we're going to hear, Jesus is talking to the crowds. In the second 2 of the parables, actually, Jesus is just talking to his disciples. First parable, Jesus is talking about the tiny mustard seed, and he says that the kingdom of heaven is like a tiny mustard seed, and you plant it in the ground and it grows into this great big plant, and birds of the air are able to nest there, and it has that supportive, nurturing opportunity. All right, and the second of them, Jesus is talking about yeast. He says that the kingdom of heaven is like the yeast that a woman stirs into 3 cups of flour. And it's this amazing image of the woman stirring that in, and then you don't see that yeast anymore, but then you've got that dough, and that dough is transformed then into the bread. After those 2 parables, Jesus is then talking to just his disciples when he gives 2 more examples of what the kingdom of heaven is like. In the first of those, Jesus talks about a man finding a buried treasure. Now, we're in this field to think a little bit about what that would look like. If we were walking along and suddenly we found a treasure, what would we do next? Well, if we didn't own the field, maybe we'd scoop it up and carry it away quick, right? But what Jesus says the man does in this parable is he actually reburies the treasure. And then he goes and sells everything he has in order to buy the field. And he says that's what the kingdom of heaven is like. And then he talks about another man who is a merchant, and he's looking for pearls, and he finds the best pearl ever, the pearl he has to have, and he goes and he sells everything else he has, and he buys this pearl. And so we see in these parables some themes, some of the mystery, some of the transformation from small into something bigger that we see in the first 2 parables. And when Jesus is talking to the crowds, we see Jesus really describing a universal kingdom of heaven for everyone. The idea that it's going to grow into this gigantic thing, that everyone can be there and it can nurture all of us. But then we see something really amazing in the second 2 parables, and it's about a kingdom of heaven that has a personal relationship with you and me. It's a kingdom of heaven in which there's a treasure, and this is not that moment where the man serves everyone by sending the treasure everywhere, by giving away to everyone else. It's a story about a very personal moment where the man who sees the treasure and has the treasure holds on to that treasure and does something really remarkable in order to keep that treasure. And so we know that the kingdom of heaven, even though it's something that is for everyone, is also something that's definitely specifically just for us, just for our relationship with God. The man who finds that pearl, he's a merchant. He does something that you really can't explain, because as a merchant selling everything you have to get just one thing would mean there's nothing else to sell. You have just the one thing. And Jesus at that moment is saying, this isn't a transaction. This is finding that one place for you. So this week, everyone, as you're thinking about the kingdom of heaven, know that it's there for everyone, but take a great comfort in the fact that if you find it in that one place, it's there just for you. Have a great week, everybody.